We know these stories about Russia are happening very quickly, but this is a super interesting story about the Conti ransomware group defending Russia. Peter wants to talk about it for today's Not So Critical update.
Yeah, so Russia ransomware group have declared for Russia. It's been an interesting few days where a lot of the different malware gangs out there are declaring their allegiances either for Russia or for Ukraine. And some of the people are just like, no, we just want to make money. But this Conti one is particularly interesting for a couple of reasons. You want to... This is the point where your editor's back in. That's it.
There we go.
I was waiting for you to give us one.
Oh no! Because the reason I wanted you guys,
if you're in danger.
Look, Mike, you have warned me not to go on too long in the intros, and I'm very conscious of that now. I don't.
Now you
I don't
listen
want
to me.
Yes, yeah, Dad.
Fair
Okay,
enough.
so Conti thing, super interesting, right? So what happened after Conti said, "Oh, we're pro-Russia"? Someone leaked all their chat logs from like ages ago.
Wow.
And not just from ages ago, but right up until today, which is amazing. And then they took all their servers offline, and then they put them back, and someone kept leaking logs from the day afterwards. It was like, it's brilliant.
So this now makes much more sense to me. I thought that it was Conti leaking these things, and I couldn't understand how they were helping Russia in any way, because it seemed like everything they leaked was bad news for them.
No, it was
like, you guys suck at this.
This is a civil war. It's inside. Someone inside Conti is going like, no. We want Russia. We're for Ukraine. And they didn't like this kind of public
that makes
declaration.
so much more sense.
Sick.
Yeah.
Wow,
But the thing is, there are so many logs here, and some of the stuff that's coming out of them is just so juicy. So there's stuff like there's discussions with companies who have So Super Job, another job site is being used by Conti to find people to work with Cobalt Strike, which is
sure.
It's amazing. It's just,
criminal organizations have HR problems too.
They do. They're basically just software houses. One of my favorite parts was that dated today. That this is from, I think, yesterday. Brett Callow, by the way, is following this very closely and having a look at these logs. So if you want to keep up to date, then follow him. There's a hashtag Conti Leaks on Twitter. It's a great great hashtag to follow. He's just, oh my god, it's amazing. They were like, oh,
Peter's beside himself. The excitement.
It's so much fun. It really is. One of my favorite ones is that they found negotiations from companies about ransomware deals to like how much should they pay, and these are companies which haven't declared the fact that they've suffered a breach, so they're kind of fucked.
Which we've talked about before. There was that issue with, who was that? The SEC started to investigate. Man, I can't. It was in the wake of some big hack, some big breach, and the SEC started to investigate and said everybody needs to disclose anything that happened in the past year or whatever. And the story was that all these businesses were panicking because they didn't disclose. But if the SEC asked, now all of a sudden there's real money on the line.
I remember that was like 6 months ago, but yeah, I remember that story. I can't remember who it was either. It's just so good. And it's like, hundreds of thousands of lines of chat logs, which are just being grepped for at the moment. It's amazing. I love this so much. I really do. One of the things that I keep on seeing is that Conti, they're like, is this the end of the Conti ransomware group? And they literally, there was a message from one guy there who's like, I've turned off our servers. I've scrubbed the hard drives. Like he's gone through and shredded them. The machines are offline. and people are saying, "Oh, is it the end?" But it's probably not, because they've survived stuff like this before.
Just gonna move someplace else, set up new offices.
Yeah, rename different offices.
And even if they do, let's say, dissolve, it doesn't mean that a member can't pick up the name, right? Like this is not like they're proprietary or copywritten or whatever. Like anyone can take that name back up and represent a group again. I think a good example is, you know, Anonymous, who it's just a mask. Anyone can represent the Anonymous, you know, collective, if you can even refer to it as a collective.
Did you know though that well, one difference is that Anonymous are Legion, so
I've heard
there is that.
Thanks, Peter.
Yeah.
And they did jump into the fray on this issue.
But and that's the problem, is like when we say that it's easy for our brains to put a group or like a mask or a label onto something. But that's the thing with Anonymous, is it really, you can't even think about it that hard. It's just anyone and everyone can call themselves Anonymous, not because of the group, but because of the meaning of the word. And it's kind of been hijacked since when was the Anonymous, if you want to call them that, announced? It was like the Million Day March or whatever. I forget. What was it for? It was the fallout of 2008, I think. So around like 2010, 2011, it became a big deal. But this isn't just a group. Like, again, anyone can be anonymous. I know Mike hates...
We are all anonymous, and no one is anonymous. We are beyond space. We are beyond time.
Literally.
We are everywhere. We are nowhere.
It has such a healthy dose of cringe attached to it.
I know.
It feels so edgy, but like people who, you know, take up the anonymous handle, some of these people are extremely talented, and you know they're doing real work over at in Russia. But back to Conti. So what my point was, you know, a concrete group with members, even if this does land a fatal blow in their operations and trust among members, like they could still pick up the name again. Completely different group, new members, new people, whatever. But it is interesting. It's kind of a very rare sight to get to look in, lift the veil, look behind the curtain, and see how these people communicate.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think the damage is really going to be done to Conti themselves. It's going to be the juicy bits that come out of the people that are working with Conti for reasons.
Right, like you guys were saying.
Yeah,
that is huge. And like how many in one of those tweets it was like, how many GDPR fines do you think are going to be issued in the coming weeks?
Well, probably none, because you know,
maybe that was their strategy.
True, this is a lot of this is damaging.
They're getting this information companies. Did you find this secret information that we had? Oops.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah, we've got other stories about Ukraine, the cyber war against Ukraine, and coming up here in this week. But either you just saw it or you're going to see it. We don't know yet. But
by the way, I do want to say that if anybody from Conti is watching, really sorry to hear that you've been having troubles. Genuinely, please don't hack me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Good luck. All the best.